Good evening. Thank you for coming out to join us tonight on this really nice night to be sitting on your patio. We thought about coming to your patio, but we wouldn't fit, so we stayed here. So it's really good to see all the families out tonight. So tonight we're just celebrating instrumental music. A lot of these groups have been working on what I would call like our festival set of music, the slightly more serious type where you're really working on tons and tons of musical details. You know, in the fall we had a lot of football games and went on into basketball with a lot of pep band. In December, we got to add a few holiday pieces. And in the spring, we have a whole different kind of music set aside for you. But right now, I mean, it is spring now, but you know, later spring, the real spring. And right now, we're going to be showing what we've been doing on just really digging in on a lot of deeper details with our music. So we're going to start out with our concert band with Tudor sketches. And I was kind of fascinated by this piece because you're going to be heading back to the time of the Tudor family's reign in England. And I've always found that interesting because I have some strange and extremely distant relatives that are almost kind of sort of tied in with the Tudors. Thank you. If you've been following along with us this year, you know the concert band has had an opportunity to play different chapters from the story called the Darklands series, and we have now come to the third and final movement of this piece, which is called Darklands Legends. It started with a separate piece that we didn't perform this year, and it ends with a piece that we don't have with us. But this third movement of this piece is the story where our great hero David, he has gone through many trials, and now he has come across a castle where the queen has put a spell on everybody, and she causes them to they come to her masquerade, and she has them dance all night, and they have no choice, and they're just spinning faster and faster and faster, and then suddenly dawn hits, and they all turn to stone. Right as that moment hits, somehow there is a magical burst, and David is freed, and he's freed the curse of the queen. So this is called the Queen's Mask. So as you may recall, these students meet in two separate classes. And at first it was really quite a struggle to be learning pieces of music that had independent parts, and we were missing parts in each class. Like, we had to imagine the different parts being played. We really only played together really just a handful of times where we've worked it out. And it's really fun to hear when they come together. I always really enjoyed it. It's almost like a surprise for me tonight to hear all the parts together and how they're quickly adjusting to each other. It's a testament to their musicianship. I've been really impressed, though, with how each musician has grown this year through the trial of like having to learn to play their part independently instead of having a whole section to lean on. They've all become really excellent musicians and been held accountable for their own part. I'm looking forward to what the future holds for this group of musicians. musicians. We're going to be finishing up with a piece called Journey into Diablo Canyon. Although the composer doesn't write any sort of a storyline to explain what this is about, we are able to kind of like imagine various parts of this journey, and you'll hear the story, this supposed story, you'll hear it change several times, and like the mood changes as they journey through this Diablo Canyon. I have been told there is such a place in California. I have a feeling there's probably some other places around too, but you can imagine what this Diablo Canyon is to you. I'm sure it's warmer than it is here tonight. And also, in case you're kind of wondering, why do we fundraise? Well, everything we do that is outside of that hour-long class period that we have, pretty much all of it costs money, except for, I guess, playing in the gym doesn't cost money. But if we need new equipment for any thing, we need to raise money to purchase it. We did recently, I'm sure many of you have heard of it, receive a grant, and we're super grateful to Battleground Education Foundation and the Battleground Rose Float Association. You may know them as the ones that have always built that really beautiful float that was entered in the Grand Floral Parade for so many years. I believe they told me it's been like 50 years that they've had a float in the parade. And they always arranged it in the Grand Floral Parade so that the marching band was right behind the float. And it was really nice representation of our town of Battleground. And unfortunately, they've had to disband because they couldn't find enough volunteers to keep it going and a space for them to do their thing, and I feel like it's a really big loss for our town. But since they disbanded their nonprofit organization, they donated a generous amount just to the marching band to purchase marching band instruments. So with that amount, we were able to purchase a brand new brass sousaphone, so all of our sousaphone players can actually be playing matching instruments. And we were also able to purchase a baritone saxophone. Those are like two of your really big ticket instruments, and they're also the ones that kind of wear out first, I think, because they're heavier, so maybe they get dropped more often. But that was really a big boost for our program. We are, as I'm sure you might be aware, still in need of many percussion items. There are things that are falling apart on the way over here from the band room when we're banding them back together, and we have all sorts of creative things we do to make music for you. I feel like it can help the students kind of raise their level of pride in the program if they know they have excellent equipment to be working with. And one other thing that the Boosters is able to provide for us is, and we're super grateful for this, is transportation to go to those parades. We think it's a lot better to get a ride on a bus to the Grand Floral Parade rather than walking there and back. So we're gonna get started with our symphonic band, and we have a fun little piece that sounds like you might be on a little vacation, and it is called A Night in Budapest. Our next piece we're really excited about. It has a lovely piano part and we'll be featuring Paige playing piano with us. And music is often something that we use to kind of express feelings in our lives about, various things that we are feeling going on. And unfortunately, some of our strongest feelings are from possibly sad or more upsetting events. And so you'll see lots of times in music that people will write a piece of music to remember somebody. And I think that's a beautiful way to remember their memories. There's so many pieces of band music written in memory of someone who was special to that composer. And this one kind of touches a nerve. Just turn off your emotions, guys, okay? We talked about how sad it was and all that. This one kind of gets us just a little bit. This one is called Until We Dream, and dreaming of the pets that we've lost. Because I know many of you have pets that are really important parts of your family. So this is in memory of those beautiful pets that we had, and they have crossed the Rainbow Bridge. Just as we write music about memories in our lives and loved ones, there's also been tons and tons of music written about beautiful nature, especially so many scenes we have here in the Northwest. So when I first looked at this piece of music, I kind of thought it was about our Northwest. The title of it is Timberline. Turns out it's actually about a band director in the town of Timberline, Idaho. And so he made a really large impact on the community over his really long time being there. And it's kind of just celebrating the joy of his life and how he was able to impact his community of Timberline, Idaho. All right, we're going to get going with our wind ensemble. They've had the opportunity to perform this set of music 2 times. Along with the symphonic band, these guys got to go to Prairie High School for our district band festival. And not only did we have judges, adjudicators there giving comments, they wrote comments down, they wrote scores. We had a clinic where they came in and talked with the group and gave them ideas. They also got to go 1 week later over to the Clackamas Concert Band Festival. And that was a great experience because after they performed on stage where there were comments being written down and recorded for them, then we got to go and sight read. We got to sight read music, and we kind of cheated. I mean, not on purpose. We didn't cheat on purpose, but they happened to have put the piece of music in front of us called Tudor Sketches. That's the one that the concert band just played. So a couple of these kids had heard it, and it was familiar. So that was kind of a fun experience. They got lots of really generous and kind comments from our adjudicators. Also, we got some tips on things that we can continue to work on, which is what we're always striving for as human beings and as artists. What can we continue to improve? Because there never is really a spot that you arrive. You can always continue and improve yourself. We're going to get started with a really fun piece of music called Symphonic Dance Number 1, and these kids have been working on it quite a while. I don't recommend getting up and dancing. It's too dark. You might hurt yourself. This next piece of music was originally written for a choral group, and it was sung in Latin. This is Lux Aurumque, and it means gold and light. And this is not one of those pieces where you go around humming it when you're done. Like that last piece we had quite a little melody. You can go whistling when you're done. This is what I would call more of a soundscape. Really, really beautiful. If you ever have a chance to hear a choir sing it too, it's absolutely love it. A lovely piece by Eric Whitaker. So we're going to present Lux Aurumque. All right, thank you. That's been a really beautiful piece to work on. We're going to finish up with the wind ensemble part tonight with a piece that's a little bit special to me. A few of these students actually performed it already in its original form when they were in middle school. This piece of music, Voyage of the Northern Lights, was written by my niece. She was in composition school at Western Oregon State. She's since then become quite the composer. She has lots of commissions where people are paying her to write pieces for them, and she's making money. This piece we're playing, Voyage of the Northern Lights, has become super popular in the Northwest in this past year. It's been at various honor bands around the area, performed at contests, and it was even at our Junior All-State this year in the state of Washington. And for, these guys are probably the only ones who knows what it means, but on J.W. Pepper, the website where we like to shop for band music, it was picked as one of the editor's choice pieces. So it's been really gaining a lot of ground, and I'm just really happy for her that she's had that opportunity. No, I do not claim anything about her. She's talented all by herself. It has nothing to do with me. But I'm very excited to know her. Her mother is from Finland, and so she kind of tapped into her Finnish roots and wrote this piece. She went back to, in legend, the Vikings believed that when you died, your soul was carried up to heaven or Valhalla or whatever it was on the Northern Lights, and that you floated up on the Northern Lights. So we start out with kind of a little bit more somber burial hymn, and then it moves on to a brighter piece as the souls are floating up into heaven. She used some melodies from Scandinavia, from her roots, to compose this piece, Voyage of the Northern Lights.
Our first piece, so I know the typical order for events is usually like a big, fast opener, and then you kind of like do something slower in the middle, and then you kind of do something faster at the end. We're actually going to just go with the slow song and then amp things up as we continue. So this is this first song is Body and Soul. It is going to feature on trumpet Landon Coy. We did this at the Clark College Jazz Festival, and it was his feature debut, so we're going to give him a chance to play here at home. Body and Soul. And now, as promised, we're going to speed things up a little bit. We're going to transition to a chart called Groove Blues by Peter Blair. Features, who's in this one? This one's Eli Lennox, and then Joe? No. And Landon again. I knew the other one. The kids and I had an argument this morning as to whether we've actually performed this here at home before. I said no, and a few others agreed, and then most people said, no, we did it. So maybe we did, maybe you'll recognize it, and maybe it'll be brand new. I don't know. Some of you might be wondering about my weird back support thing that I have around my waist. Nope, that's not what that is. It's actually a harness, not for mountain climbing, but for playing saxophone, because I'm gonna do something tonight that I don't do for concerts with this ensemble very often, and that is I'm gonna play with these kids, because they don't need me up here waving my arms, clearly. I'm not doing much. I might as well be useful and play some bass line. So this is gonna be one of our pieces from Clackamas Jazz Festival and from Commencement Bay. This is going to be All Right, Okay, You Win, made famous by many artists, my favorite of which is Peggy Lee. I'm so out of breath right now. Okay. We're gonna bring Advanced on, and I'm gonna go catch a breath. Whew.
All right, this is our advanced jazz band, and like Mrs. Steck was saying, usually when you hear a group up here, you hear them start out with some big opener. So we're gonna start with the opener. And I'd like to point out we have a few soloists on this. I'm going to get this right. We've got Cole on the tenor sax. We have Carter on the trombone. We have Melody on the drums. And we have Michael on the trumpet. All right, good night. No, we've got more. We've got more. We'll slow it down, grab your partner, and give them a little snuggle. Don't do it, high schoolers, okay? It just gets weird. In a sentimental mood, some of you are feeling sentimental because that last song just really made you remember the good times. We're going to be featuring Cole on this nice, lovely piece, In a Sentimental Mood. So I think these guys, both of our jazz bands, are going to be really happy to have this spring break off. We've had that. We spent the last 2 weekends together. I mean, that's good and bad. Depends on how you look at it. But last 2 weekends, we've gotten to go to jazz festivals. A couple weekends ago, we went to the Clackamas Clackamas Community College Jazz Festival, and both bands performed really, really well. And some of you got to hear that on the live stream. It was great. And our advanced jazz band got to perform in the evening finals, and we got a third place trophy. It was really exciting. We heard some other great groups there too. We had Outstanding Soloists Award, and then the next weekend we went up to Commencement Bay up in Fife and got to perform there as well. I feel like our intermediate jazz band just keeps getting better and better every time I hear them, like just from 1 week to the next. Like there's so much growth going on. I'm really excited about where they're headed. Not to mention these guys too, they finally remembered they like performing, and we had a really good time performing. There was just one really sad thing that happened. We almost got to play in the finals against Century High School. And for those of you who don't know, there's a friend of ours there who's been helping with their jazz band. And some of you might have heard of him. His name is Mr. Greg McKelvey. And so we were going to have the opportunity to be in the finals, just us and them. And then they had a scheduling conflict, and they were not able to perform in the finals. And I know I was heartbroken. I don't know about these guys. They probably didn't want to see Mr. McKelvey there, but I was really, really sad. It could have been a really fun evening. However, we performed, and we got a second place trophy there, and also some great Outstanding Soloist Awards. And let's give it up for these kids for working really, really hard. Something that's been really fun to realize about this group, as I was watching several bands perform this last weekend, each band would have one or two soloists that they highlighted that were just really outstanding. We heard some really good players, and it was exciting. But what I love about this band is we are kind of stacked with soloists. We have got so many different people in here that are playing really outstanding soloists, and I feel like that's just a really exciting thing going on here at Battleground, that we've got kids that are working on their own musicianship individually as well as in the band. So we're gonna finish up with Blues and Hoss Flat, and just kind of raise your hand if you're soloing, because I have no idea. I've used up my brain power. Oh, we've got a couple trombone players with a hand up. We've got bookends on the saxophone section. We even have a trumpet player. So they're gonna play them in some sort of order. So appreciate our soloists when it happens. Thank you so much for being here tonight. If you have a moment to help us with a couple of the chairs, that would be really wonderful. We appreciate it. Thank you. Those are beautiful. And the kids are going to stay for a couple minutes and clean up, and everyone have a great evening. Drive safe and enjoy the warm air.